Hey, how's it going, everybody? We are back with another Gemstone Legends video, and I'm making this video a little sooner than I anticipated, but I had an interesting experience while I was playing around with equipment and the Phoenix Rift, and so I actually wanted to cover this video while all of these lessons were sort of fresh in my head, because I think it really demonstrates a key principle about equipment and finding the right heroes, and also gives some insight on the Phoenix 20 team. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, be sure to go in the description of this video and check out the video talking about hero leveling and Ascension priorities, and it kind of explains what heroes you should level when based on the key targets and milestones in the game. And a couple of those are creating teams for farming the Rift. So if you haven't tried Gemstone Legends yet, come check it out and play alongside me. It's another really fun and deep strategy RPG like Empires and Puzzles, but with some fun new twists, and a lot of people from Empires and Puzzles have already joined. Not only can you help out the channel by using the download link in the description of this video, but if you enter the code #Spock_2021 hashtag in the global chat, you can get a nice starter bonus including gold, gems, gold scrolls, and a free epic hero, Elidor, all valued at about 50 bucks. Once you join, you'll also get access to a set of beginner events where you can earn another epic hero, Soliana, a 5-star legendary set of equipment, which is what you use to boost the stats and performance of your heroes, and a platinum scroll for another epic or legendary hero in the game. Those links and codes are in the description down below. Just be sure to enter that code in the global chat after finishing the tutorial within 24 hours of downloading the game, and I look forward to seeing you all there. So I did a video recently showing the Goliath Rift level 20 team. We have a blue boss here, so going with the green team. And now I've been toying around with the Phoenix Rift level 20, and I had some observations that I wanted to point out. So real quick, if you want to check out Gemstone Legends with me, there is a link in the description of this video, as well as a promo code. And you want to click on that link, install the game, play through the tutorial, which will take you about 15 minutes, and then within 3 hours of downloading the game, after completing the tutorial, enter the code #Spock_2021 hashtag, and you'll get this starter bonus on the screen that you can see here. So Elidor is a great hero and healer, can be part of your Goliath Rift 20 team since he is green. You'll also get 5 gold scrolls, which means even more heroes. And the other stuff that you can see on this starter bonus here. But how great is it to start a game and get free stuff to give you a boost to begin with? I think that's pretty cool. You'll also get access to these beginner events when you start, which will give you another epic hero, Soliana, who is a red AoE hero that does fire damage, and I've been using her for a while, and she's a great hero. You also get a full set of 5-star legendary artifacts from the caster set, which is a set that improves the mana gain of your heroes, so kind of like mana troops from Empires and Puzzles. It's a good set to have, and one that'll be featured in this video. And lastly, you'll get a platinum scroll, which is another guaranteed epic hero or the highest chance at a legendary hero. So if you're interested in trying that out, information is in the description of this video. Come join me in the game. Let me know what you think. It's a great company as well, and they seem very interested in what their players think and wanting to create a game that players love. So that's something that that I really like. So getting back to the video here, we're going to be looking at the team that I created for the Phoenix Rift here and what was significant. So as I was putting this team together, I had been toying around with these heroes. You can see that if you've watched my Goliath team video, that I have now 3 legendary heroes on this team, whereas in that one I only had 1 and 4 epics, I believe. So this is definitely a more difficult level, which is why it is a further milestone compared to the Goliath Rift. But since I had created that team, I wanted to start on this one as well, so that way I can farm either one depending on what sets I really need pieces from. Because each Rift, you can see at the top here, awards different sets. So anyways, I was playing around with this team, and the idea here is that I have Guinevere, again, for that Rift speed leader ability. You can see on her card, Speed Leader increases the speed of all allies in the rifts by 22%, which is pretty great. I've got Aurora, who is an attack buffer and also grants what they call Protective Shield, which is a positive status that is basically a shield for 25% of your HP. It only lasts 4 turns, but it's sort of like healing. And there's so much fire damage coming at you with the Phoenix, depending on how fast you are, that I wanted to have that extra healer and also have the attack boost. Depending on what heroes you have access to, the balance points for what you need will shift. So there's no way to give the one ideal team and just substitute any heroes into those given spots. They all have different stuff going on, and so it's really about me demonstrating one thing that worked for me for you to try to understand, okay, here's what's going on, this is what this hero is doing, okay, and then you got to experiment with the heroes that you have and see, okay, I died way too fast, so I either need to be dealing a lot more damage faster, or I need to be more survivable. And so there's a balance point there, which we'll talk about as I'm trying to illustrate what I am planning to talk about. I've got Ultan, who's a great hero. He's only rare, but I've ascended him to 5 stars. And he's putting the defense down to help the rest of the team shine. So you can start to see based on the order. We've got attack up, then we've got defense down. Then I've got Maharold, which is basically just a really strong gemstone attacker. His special is all about making his board play better, but he can deal a huge amount of single target damage, and you can see I've got some pretty good crit rate and crit damage on his build. And then one of the last, I think, key pieces that there are some substitutions for, which we'll talk about, is Torbjorn. And he's a pretty popular epic hero, and a lot of people feel like he's one of the strongest hitting heroes in the game and maybe one of the best epics in the game. So I just ascended him to 6 stars during the event now, because that gives me the chance, or not the chance, but if I can ascend enough, that gives me a legendary tome, which is a very valuable item. So he's dealing damage based on HP. You can see based on the build that he's got 100% crit rate, which means that every single hit that he deals is going to be a critical hit. The crit damage is not super high to go with that, but it does help. So the thing that was significant for me here is that I ran this team in this rift, and I won the first one. I was like, cool, okay, I got my team figured out. And then I ran it again and lost pretty badly, and was like, okay, there's still some more work to be done here. And I made one change, and it made a huge difference. So the change I made was with Torbjorn specifically. And that change was to his equipment. So I had leveled him up pretty early on and I probably just auto-equipped or something at the time, which is fine. It's better than nothing, like I talked about in my recent 10 tips video. Another one to check out if you haven't seen that. But since I was relying on him more for a very key team, I was like, okay, I need to reevaluate his equipment again. So since he deals damage based on HP, you really want to maximize his HP. Also, since he is a damage dealer, you want to maximize his crit rate and crit damage. You kind of want to find a balance between those things. And keep in mind, he's not maxed yet, so these stats will keep going up in those last 15 levels. But as I was trying to decide what set to use, since he does damage based on HP, one of the obvious choices is the life set here. Because if you do 6 pieces, you're getting a 45% boost to HP. So if you can have some other complementary pieces within that set, you can get a huge boost. I did not have the pieces I wanted in this set. So I wanted some crit rate gloves because that's really important. I have crit damage, but crit rate is really important, and sometimes it's harder to come by. And so I started looking elsewhere. And as you can see here, his mana gain is usually a 19. And that means that basically you're dividing that number into 100, and that's telling you how many gemstones or tiles it's going to take to charge them. So if it was an even 20, that would mean 5. Since it's 19, that means more than 5. So I figured, okay, he could actually benefit from the caster set, which adds 4. He's not quite going to charge in 4 tiles now because he's still less than 25. But now he's going to charge in even 5 tiles, which is definitely an advantage. So I was looking around in these sets and I saw, okay, I have this weapon. If you look at the lower left, I got a quad roll on HP. So that's a 33% boost to HP. And I was like, all right, we're looking pretty good now. Went with some HP boots, HP armor. And you can see some of these substats. I've got a little bit of speed, some crit damage. Went for crit rate gloves from the Hawkeye set, which you only need 2 pieces from to get another crit rate boost, and so that helped get me up over 100. You only need to get to 100. Anything else is additional. Sometimes it's not going to evenly hit 100, but just keep that in mind. We've got some more HP here. We've got a little crit damage, a little defense. We've got more crit rate here, more HP. So I had a lot of pieces in these 2 sets that fit his build really well. So even though this might not be the set that most people would tell you to use, it really depends on your pieces. And so that was a huge lesson for me, is like, people have asked for advice in Empires and Puzzles, like which hero should I level up? You know, which emblem path should I take? All this kind of stuff. And it really depends. And that's a frustrating answer, but this was a perfect illustration of that. I really wish I'd taken video before. But when I was fighting this rift, he was doing like 3,000 to 6,000 damage per hit. And I was like, that is not very impressive. I just ascended him to 6 stars. Not just, but recently. And I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks. And I was like, all right, well, let me take a look at his equipment, see if I can boost his HP a little bit. And so that's when I chose this set, which you can see is really good stuff. It's 5 and 6 star artifacts. But we've, now made a 200% boost to his HP. He's got a little bit of a defense boost, which will help survivability, etc., etc. But now he's hitting, before it was also with the help of Aurora and Ulton, so attack up and defense down. Now he's hitting for 20k, and it was 3 to 6 before, because 1, we're getting guaranteed crits every single time, and 2, we boosted his stats in the way that they need to be boosted. And now I'm destroying that level in the Rift. So don't undervalue equipment, and yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. So I want to run through the Rift and show some of this stuff in action, because what it really comes down to for me, and this is the absolute key for putting these teams together, they're all in balance. Like if you've ever seen those, I don't know what they're called in like the sculpture world, but like a mobile. So you've seen the very symmetrical ones that you would hang over like a baby's crib or something, but there are ones that people build as like artistic sculptures. And the trick with those is that you're trying to make an asymmetric shape, but have everything be perfectly balanced together. And so you can create these really interesting sculptures, sort of. It's like a hanging sculpture, I guess. And as you're assembling it, you're going, okay, this is throwing off the balance in this way. So if I put a piece here, that'll balance it. I add this new piece that throws it off in this way. And it's really the same idea in putting your team together. So I wish I could just tell you, here's the team to use. I guess if you have the heroes that I do, you can just use these heroes. Again, it comes down to the artifacts as well. So try to learn from the example if you can, instead of just copying what I'm using, because that will get you the furthest in this game. So hopefully that all makes sense. It was a really striking moment for me, because I went from being like, yeah, this guy's kind of disappointing and and I can't beat the Rift reliably, to just crushing it. And if you don't have the same heroes as me, so I want to real quickly talk about some alternatives before we look at the gameplay. I'd recommend working on that fusion towards Guinevere, so I also have a video about that if you need a little bit of education there, but she's a key Rift hero. So yeah, another one that's similar to Torbjorn, if you don't have him, is, I think he's in here. Someone was just talking about him, Varnag. So he deals damage based on attack, but it's a huge amount. Then he gains increased attack. Additionally, 100% chance to gain increased critical damage for 6 turns at the start of each wave. and mana gain can be increased by 2, which means you don't need to put a caster set on to get him down to 5 gemstones during his turn. So he can be a great option. You're probably going to want to ascend him to 6 stars, and you're going to want to put attack armor on him, because that's what his thing is based off of. But he can function similar to Torbjorn. Additionally, you can see this max level thing. I also did a video about this leveling system, but basically you can just feed duplicates of this same family, any of the ones that you can see on the, not any of the ones on the bar, but all the ones in his row here. You can feed those to him with some coins, and it can boost his special up. So he can be a good alternative to Torbjorn. Hopefully you have Ultan by now. I think there's one more that I don't know if you can get away with Inula. She puts people to sleep, and that could be possible. But yeah, you'll just have to do a little bit of looking around. Try to prioritize blue heroes and see if you can find any, let's just take a quick look. Totally forget what he does, but decrease resistance, so that wouldn't be the best thing. And he's an all enemy thing, so you want some single target blue hitters for this. So I can't remember if that's all I wanted to say on that. Yeah. And again, you'll have to do the same thing that I did in some ways. And, with the kind of aha moments that I've been able to pass on to you that I didn't have until it happened. But you'll have to play around with it a little bit. You'll have to run the team and watch it and see what happens. So if you're dying way too fast, or if you don't have Guinevere or Aurora, some healers that you can run are, they're not blue, but are Richard is one that grants immunity, which can block the fire damage, because that's what starts to add up really fast if the Phoenix goes off too many times. So that's why you want to have really high damage output on your team. You can actually get away with a little less healing if the match is over that much sooner, and it'll make your farming go by quicker too. But there's also, what's his name, Benedict, who can remove negative statuses similar to Guinevere, and also has a pretty significant heal. So it'll lower your team damage a little bit, but just keep in mind some of these options where you're looking at what is dangerous about the Phoenix and what can I do to counteract that. Then you try it. And then you make adjustments. So it takes a little bit of work. You can use my attempt here as an example, but let's look at a run through. I'm also using the green dragon again, which I didn't think that I would ever go back to, but that recovery that is granted by the green dragon, you get 15% heal, which is pretty big, and then recovery for 2 turns, which can counteract some of the burn damage, in addition to Aurora and Guinevere. So this team is highly effective despite being 2 to 3 support heroes. But I think it's ready. And you'll notice that this, once I get the levels maxed, has 4 heroes at 660, whereas my G20 team, I think, only had 2. But this is a much tougher rift. So anyways, that's a lot of talking about it. I feel like that information is helpful. Let me know if you have any residual questions from that. And if you have, please share your team. If you've accomplished this task or you're close to it, please share your team in the comments to give other options for people. But just kind of look through the lexicon, look at some of the blue heroes that you have, and be like, okay, for example, if you had one that hit a single target really hard and gave decreased attack, that would be a great hero to have for this team. Okay, so we're going to run it on auto, because again, this is going to be an auto farming situation where this is not a level you're going to play through yourself. You want a team that can reliably run on auto. What's dangerous about these first few waves are, I forget if it's these ladies on the edge. Yeah, 100% chance to inflict heal block. So they tend to target the only hero they don't have a color advantage against, Guinevere, or a color disadvantage against. And then she can end up with that heal block, and it can get a little nasty. So the green dragon can be really helpful there. And you can see, pretty much a 20k hit there from Torbjorn with attack up and defense down. And I have to see what my record was. I just set my record for this, but I think it was like under 3 minutes and maybe like under 2 minutes, which is pretty amazing for what is the most difficult Rift level in the entire game. So yeah, there's one other funky thing that happens, and I was looking at changing the dragon to compensate for it, but I thought there was a dragon that had curse, which removes positive statuses. Because one thing that can happen here is Ultan goes off. One of these totems, these things on the side, can give immunity to the Phoenix. And so then Ultan's defense down doesn't land on the Phoenix, but it does land on the totems. And I was like, why is everyone suddenly attacking the totems? And it's because the AI, whenever it can, is going to try to attack heroes that have defense down. So that stalls out the match a little bit. But it was an interesting observation that I made. And look at that. We're already almost through the first incarnation of the Phoenix. It revives, if you didn't know. Spoiler alert. So you can see now it has immunity. Ultan, we need another blue match, and then he's going to fire. And then you'll see they'll change their targeting up. And that was something that I was watching very closely to see, okay, if I don't correct for this, can they still win? So we're taking a bit of a beating, but now we've got just healed for 10k on Guinevere. And we're counteracting the burn. So he just got a fresh thing of immunity. And now you can see there's no defense down in the middle, and everyone switched their targeting to the totem on the left, because the green one on the right, they have a color disadvantage to. So this is the most dangerous part of the battle. And it's looking like with our healer this weekend, there is a chance that we lose. And so that's where I was like, okay, doing the thing that I was just explaining to you. Here's a problem. What can I do to fix it? So immunity is a problem. I need a dispeller of sorts. The best dispelling in this game that I've seen is an ailment or a status called Curse, which removes one positive status every turn. And I thought the Black Dragon did that, but they don't. So it's looking like we're going to lose Guinevere here. And this is honestly the biggest obstacle. Okay, so now we have defense down back on the Phoenix, and everyone is targeting the Phoenix as normal. And hopefully we're able to finish this off right here. Yeah, so even with that really non-ideal situation, this team was dangerous enough to still pull it off, and we've got a nice 5-star pair of legendary boots there. Hopefully something with a percent base or speed main stat. Yeah, best 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So that is fast. If you're trying to use your auto battles on this, you can get a lot of really good equipment in a short amount of time. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any residual questions. I'm not exactly sure where people will feel stumped, so please let me know where that is. And I hope this was helpful. I realize that these are sort of long discussions to listen to sometimes, but this is really the best way I can answer the question of like, what team should I use? We're not all ever going to have the same heroes, unless it's just rares that you're talking about, which is totally doable. There are some other videos on YouTube of people demonstrating teams for this Rift with even more attainable heroes. So there is information out there, but I like to talk through my observations and kind of teach you my thought process once I've found a way to be successful with whatever thing it is that I'm demonstrating. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. That helps other people find it, and it's a free way for you to support the channel. If you like the content, consider subscribing as well. Trying to grow the channel even more, so thank you guys for that. And yeah, check out Gemstone Legends with me. Like I mentioned before, there's all that information in the description of this video. You'll get that starter bonus. You'll get access to those early events to give you even more heroes. And yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys will do with this game. It's still sort of in its early stages, which means that all the best stuff is yet to come. which is pretty exciting. And also it means there's a lot to figure out. So if you're a clever, creative person, do yourself a favor and dive in here and see what you can figure out, because there are a lot of discoveries yet to be made. And I'm going to do a video soon talking about some key rare heroes that a lot of people might not pay attention to, that are actually quite good. So anyways, that's all I have to say for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.